You know what? Be religious to what is sacred to you, man.
We talked about
It's
that. Yeah.
yeah, what is sacred? And when I never pictured myself quitting Homeric. Never ever. And there were many times where I've said about Homeric that I expressed how I never felt like it was necessarily mine. I just felt like I was a conduit that
Yeah.
kind of brought it to life in a way. I was like, but I always felt like it was always bigger than I was. So
Sure.
my association with my ego to Homeric is very, very odd in that sense. And that's probably one of the reasons why I gave my ex bandmates so much clout in the project, because I wanted it to be bigger than just me. So that was uh that was an opportunity that they seized in order to try and control what I was trying to do, and they had a different vision for it, clearly. But what I learned all of that from was it is my project,
Yeah.
absolutely, and I had taken responsibility for it, taken rightful ownership of it too, and now I see exactly where this is headed. I have so much more of a clear path in front of me than I ever did before. And there's just less resistance. And this is coming back to the whole point of this podcast, which is doing the hard stuff first,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Clearing the debris, right? It's kind of like a sculptor. They don't they when they first work on a marble statue, it's just a bunch of rock, but they see what they're trying to get, but it becomes more clear as they chisel away and they clean the dust that they're chiseling away too. Even Andrew Carnegie's quote about looking for gold in dirt, right?
Yeah.
you
That's a good
you
one.
dig tons of dirt, but you're not there looking for dirt, you're there looking for gold. All of these kinds of analogies, they are all here just to say that it's hard to get what you want in life. We live in a very unfair world. So getting the things that you aspire, that you dream of, they're not just going to come to you. You got to work at it. You got to really pick at it. And
You
it's
too.
going to take time. It's going to take heartache. But if it's that sacred to you, because you can't think of doing anything else in your life, like I can't think of quitting Homeric. Homeric is something that I have to get out there. So I don't care if I've been working on it for 8 years. It's okay, because at least I'm still working on it. And that's really important to understand, that what you dream of as your magnum opus, your greatest work, that's going to come with time and just devilish persistence.
Devilish persistence. I like that a lot. And even it comes even with the smaller things in life. Ken, you and I know we're several weeks beyond this now, but we had to do our taxes for Metal Mastermind, which
Oh, yeah.
when you do taxes for a company, we're an LLC, and when you do taxes for a company that's co-owned, you've got more than one owner. There's a lot more stuff, and it's painstaking, and it's like, okay, we had planned on like let's do a podcast, let's film a podcast and then do taxes, and we thought about it's like, no, let's do the hard thing first. Okay, let's get that out of the way, which was the taxes for that day. And we knocked it out. Took a little longer than expected, so we didn't get a chance to film the podcast that day, so we caught up on that later. But had we not done that, well, we would have put ourselves in not so great of a position there, right? So even the simple stuff like that, you get the hard stuff out of the way, even though you don't want to do it, you just do it anyway, right? And then you can move forward with everything else. And this, again, there's some discomfort with that, but you do that hard thing, you grow from it and move forward. So I've always been a firm believer in your daily task that you're doing, whether it's for your business, whatever it may be, do the hardest thing first. That's why I train early mornings. That's why I like to go to the gym early mornings. For one, I know the rest of the day is free and I'm not going to miss it. But that's probably the most physical thing that I'll do that day, obviously, right? So I do that first, and that sets the tone for the rest of the day. You and I, we did our taxes first that day, right? So the rest of the day, we just had this relief. Oh my God, that is done. We don't have to worry about it now, right? And I think it's that mentality, I believe, helps you grow and helps you push forward. You become disciplined, right? You become just rock solid. You always do the hard thing first. You're not afraid to do it, and you knock it out, and then you can move on, with your mind at ease throughout the rest of the day and focus on the other things.
Yeah, and I'll even attest to some of the stuff that you do for your own music too. I know you are not unafraid to play something over again, even if it's already been committed to an idea. And you have
Oh,
done this time and time again where you've played guitars and then, you get the drum tracks, the real drum tracks from,
yeah.
your guy. And then you're like, okay, well, now I want to play to those drums. So I'm just going to re-record all my stuff because it's going to have a different feel now because I'm playing to the real thing. And it's
Yes.
like, it's very easy for someone to just say, I mean, I guess the guitars, they sound fine,
Yeah.
but you committed to doing something that was a little bit harder. And it wasn't necessary in the grand, like, scope of the whole project, but you knew that by doing that, it was going to elevate it in a different way that could have spurred something new later on in this project. So it was an important step. And again, it's not the easiest thing to do, right? You may have not even played those songs in a long time, by the time you got those drum tracks back. And you still can go ahead and do that. So it says something about somebody who decides to take action on the hard things first. And, if you're talking about Metal Mastermind and building a business like what we're doing, well, we first started off making YouTube videos. And then when we realized this was something that could be a platform and a service for others in the world who love metal and want to do more in the metal community, we said, all right, well, what do we need to do? Well, we need to build a website. We need to build a payment system. We need to build a course platform. We need to build a community and drive people to actually visit. We need a market. We need to advertise. We need to do all this stuff. And now we do podcasts. So we do a lot. And amongst doing Metal Mastermind, we do everything else in life as well. So doing the hard stuff is, it's hard, but it's also very rewarding and plays off in the long run. I certainly feel a lot of gratitude for that too.
Me as well, man. And had we not taken all those steps, had we got to the point where like, oh, we got to create a website, which websites are pretty simple, but it still takes effort, guys. You still have to put the time in. If you're one of those sitting back saying, well, it's easy to create a website. Well, hey, show me your successful website, right? But then you might get to the point, well, now we need a course platform. Now we need a payment processor. Now we have to implement a way to pay course creators and the Metal Mastermind percentage. So there's all these little nuances in the way we have our particular business structured, which is based on our vision, and we haven't strayed from that. So, and we're not tooting our horns here on that, but just giving you an example of you just press through those times. You just make a decision. It's like, okay, this is what I need to do. Maybe I don't know how to do it, but guess what? I'll figure it out. I love when Leah used to say that, Leah McHenry, which is where Ken and I met through the Elite Savvy Musician Academy. I think we owe her a lot, our success, a lot of our success to Leah McHenry's course and CJ, the Metal Motivator. We learned so much from them, but Leah would always say that you'll just figure it out. I'll figure it out, and my wife and I, we say this all the time. It's like, as entrepreneurs, and you and I as entrepreneurs, there is no such thing as I don't know. That does not exist. There is only I will figure it out. And I want you guys to remember that in every aspect of life. That's how you grow. You might not know the answer, but you know what? You won't stop. You'll figure it out and you'll grow to that next level. If you stop there, then you stop your growth.
I love that. And yeah, man, there's a lot to take away from that statement alone. Just being or shifting your response to obstacles in life and challenges in life. It's really what it comes down to, right? It's a shift in how do you respond. And I can't tell you how powerful it is to be able to approach a situation with a how to fix it and be more of a solutions based person than being victimized by what the situation has brought upon, right? Rather than just be like, oh, now this is, what it is and I can't do anything about it. Well, it's like, well, that's not true. You can first off change the way you think about this situation. And then two, you can begin to take action on how you can start to change that. Because, hey, if I could guarantee you the situation that I talked about earlier with Homeric would have broken a lot of people. It would have. And they would have stopped making music. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if some of the guys that I broke off with stopped making music in general. Because it was very, very hard.
Be sure to listen to the entire podcast on metalmastermind.com. You can just click on podcast there or go to Spotify or Google Play. There are links in the description of this video. I want to say thank you so much for supporting and being a part of Metal Mastermind. And hey, drop us a comment if you have some things that you would like for us to cover in future podcasts. We'll see you on the next show. And remember, create your own sound and style.